Okay, folks, gather around. It's probably time we had a bit of a coming to Jesus moment. Now, I want to start by stating that anyone now feeling frustrated about the whole Pulse Chain ecosystem price performance, I totally get it. It's never nice seeing stagnating or even declining price. But I also know that things will turn around to whatever extent in the bull market summer period. I've talked about this a lot, and essentially, it's going to take patience, which, of course, we know is probably the hardest thing to have as we're wading through a sea of red trying to stay afloat. What we need, quite frankly, is some serious projects to utilize Pulse Chain. Of course, to begin with, as a new chain launches, any traction is good traction. We simply need to see development in any capacity taking place to increase that feasibility of newer development taking place. However, issues arise when the entire development footprint on the chain constitutes mostly of meme coins or insubstantial yielding or mining protocols. I get it. Every wannabe token founder is looking to bring something to market with the least development time and effort required that feeds that pumpamental fire, right? Especially when it comes to the hordes of degen investors looking for a quick pump and dump to leverage. HEX has some great tokenomics and proved to be a huge value play in the last cycle. When Richard Hart then evolved things to facilitate an entire ecosystem aimed at making transactions faster and cheaper, many of those hex lovers just simply failed to evolve with that narrative. And it seems that we've maintained somewhat of a culture of tokenomics as being the main driver behind new potential projects. How many ways can you think about the tokenomics of a new project that doesn't actually give any value outside of that? It doesn't have long term price performance potential. It's not trusted. There's no substance or real world value. And this, as we have seen, has a chain effect on the members of the community, the influencers being very vocal about only investing and promoting the RH tickers, which defeats the whole purpose of RH bringing a new chain to the table. It was created to be used. The DEX, PulseX, needs to be used. The store of value in HEX needs to be used. This happens less and less when we find ourselves in an ecosystem with a lot of diehard maxis promoting only the buying of RH tickers with no catalyst to growth. This simply isn't how price grows. Successful chains are chains that are utilized by solid projects. It takes a network effect of these projects to bring new traction to the chain and the ecosystem. Staying in your lane with only purchasing RH tickers only goes so far before you simply find yourself in an echo chamber talking to folks who already own the token with no new conversations taking place and no new buyers entering this area of the market. You see the problem, right? But we can't blame them. I'm not taking a stab at the maxis. Firstly, every community needs those folks. They form a strong core of the continual promotion of the ecosystem once new folks are brought in. But to be successful, they can't be the loudest voices that those new folks see because all it does is stifle growth and keep messaging contained. It seems many aren't putting this together right now. And so when many new projects are coming to market, they're being met with resistance and outright hostility in some instances if it's not an RH ticker, which I guess is totally understandable, right? When every new token seems to be a worthless meme, it's a catch 22. We need to build trust on the chain, and we aren't there yet. The bedrock of solid development needed for this type of trust isn't in place yet. We don't have any substantial projects in the ecosystem coming to fruition to bring in new folks, serious players, and larger money are not being attracted. Those audiences aren't the meme audiences. Meme audiences are either typically newer to crypto and getting wrapped up in a few influencer calls and temporary green candles, or gamblers playing with small amounts of money, rolling the dice on stuff that they wouldn't trust as far as they could throw it. And if they are playing with their life savings, then they're the dummies, right? Either way, they're not the ideal audience for long-term growth for a new chain. This dynamic, an ultra successful ecosystem does not make. So how do we solve this? Well, of course, by bringing in some serious projects that people aren't looking at as a potential rug from the get-go. projects that are substantial and bring in real world traction, serious investment, tangible forms of growth utility. We have a cheap, fast ecosystem with a strong community and a smart leader who knows how to move the needle when he has to. Don't be fooled by him not being as vocal over the last year or so. We talked about how putting his energy to use at a time where price is more easily affected by it is a much wiser decision. We're not there yet, so we'll see him get more vocal as we get closer to that time. This, on paper, is a great ecosystem to launch very solid projects on. However, this doesn't happen when a community is focused on infighting, resistance to any and all new development taking place. And the development that does happen is just insubstantial crap coins. You know what I'm talking about. We've seen it time and time again. So why am I bringing this up? Because I've just gotten back from this latest NVIDIA conference. Many of you know, certainly my private group know, I wasn't idle. And I've been able to meet with some serious people. I have been leveraging my network to do more than just report to you on price movement of meme action. I told you I was going to do this. And I can tell you that serious development is likely, very likely, coming to the ecosystem very soon. So your patience will be rewarded. I personally want to be more than just another voice whining into the ecosystem why price isn't moving and why Richard Hart isn't pumping my bags. That's not how this works. We all know this deep down, right? We can do better than that. I can do better than that. We shouldn't have an ecosystem where everyone is betting on memes and rug coins. We need true value. We need projects, serious projects, brought to the ecosystem that isn't already instilling that internal fear that they may not be around for the long haul. That's simply not how these types of chains, how these types of ecosystems are going to survive long haul. And it's a knock-on effect. As soon as we start seeing some of those projects taking place, this is when we start that domino effect and more are actually brought into the ecosystem. I'm working on it. I know people who are working on it. Just stay patient. I hope this helped. Please do subscribe, like, all of that good stuff. I'll catch you on the next one. And if you want to, feel free to join the private group